So, as I've recently just returned from being overseas, I have a pretty fun idea, a fun concept I'm going to be going over today. And basically, I'm just going to go through the different countries of people that I've met. So, basically, the way this is going to go is I'm going to kind of go over every single person that I've met from many different countries around the world. I actually have a lot. I'm not going to give you the number because I actually am going to reveal that at the end. Because being in other countries, obviously being across on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, I actually met a lot of people, and you'll be surprised as to the many different types of people I met, the many different countries that are actually on this list right here. I have it right in front of me, and that's what I'm gonna go through. And I guess it's just this fun little thing, and the point of it is maybe for you to be like, oh wow, he met a guy from that country. That's cool, right? And there's definitely gonna be a few on here that are very very exotic. So, and it also gives me a chance to tell some more personal stories about a lot of these different people that I've met along the way and along this journey. So I hope it's entertaining. I hope it's fun, and that's really the main goal of this episode. It was a very fun thing that I came up with that I wanted to do. Basically, the rules of this, and when I made the list, basically, it has to be the person has to be born in that country, or at least spent enough time in that country where they're assimilated into their culture. If I know people, for example, like I have one on here from Trinidad. They're not like they weren't born there. They have heritage there. That doesn't count. Like they don't have a passport. They're from Canada and everything about them is Canadian, but but their background is from Trinidad. That's an example that like that person doesn't count. Even if like it doesn't count for Trinidad. If that makes sense. Like if you're still kind of confused as to what we're doing here, it's basically like each individual country. Like, how many countries have I met in the world? How many people from different countries have I met? If that makes any sense. Like, basically, also the way I'm gonna do it is if I shook hands with them. Like, it's not gonna be just someone that I was in the same room with, I never really talked to. Like, if I shook hands with them or like talked to them for a long enough time that they, that we all like, that I did meet them properly instead of just being in the same room with them and not really knowing them and trying to count them. So there's a few contentious ones on here because of that, and obviously I'll be mentioning them as I go along. But that is basically the criteria for each individual country. So what countries do I have on this list in terms of like people that I've met from them? Well, I'm gonna go over it and I'm gonna find out. Obviously, if you don't understand yet, it's a very complicated thing to explain, but you're gonna see every single country that I have, every single country where I met someone from that country. If that makes any sense. So obviously you got Canada, US, Mexico. I think that's very, very obvious. Like I'm from Canada. Many people from Canada. I've been to the USA multiple times. I went to Mexico as a kid, so I don't remember that trip, but the people I met from Mexico were when I was in Spain. I met a few different people that were born in Mexico from Mexico. So that's I think a very obvious one. Obviously those three are going to be on the list given where I live, right? So I met someone from Jamaica, and it was actually door to door sales. We did our interviews together, and we kind of went up and we went out together. Like we kind of started together, and we had some good fun memories together. And then unfortunately, he left a little bit earlier than I did because he wasn't having as much success in the door to door sales as I was. But still, we had some good fun. We made some good memories, and like yeah, he was properly Jamaican too, which is pretty good. I know a few people that have Jamaican heritage, but were not from the country, like not born there. But this guy that I met, he was definitely from there. And then Honduras. Honduras, I met a guy very, very recently, actually, on my most recent trial in Spain. He was born in Honduras, and he was playing there in the team as well with me. We went out a couple times into the city, and it was also pretty fun. It's pretty good to meet a guy from Honduras. I mean, it's not exactly like an obvious country. And if you can tell, I'm going to be going in order, like based on the continent, not based on my life chronologically, based on continents, I'm going to go over. So, yeah, Honduras. And then I actually also have Guatemala here. It was a guy that I knew when I was a kid. So I don't really remember too much. But I definitely remember that he was Guatemalan. But like, we were like I'm pretty sure we did like piano lessons together or something like that. Like something like I'm pretty sure that was where we met. Um yeah, I don't really remember too much about it, but I know that much that he was Guatemalan. And then you have Cuba. I actually went to Cuba when I was a kid, so I met quite a few people from Cuba that were actually like, Cubans living there. So that's kind of like a little bit of a cheat code. But yeah, that was it was a fun experience. It was a fun time, but I was pretty young. I was pretty young. I don't remember everything about it, but I definitely would have shook some hands of some Cubans there for sure. And then I have El Salvador on this list, which is contentious because I know a couple of people with El Salvadorian heritage, but were not born there. But there was someone that I met the last time I went in Spain back in the summer of last year who was from El Salvador. I don't know if he was born there because he lived in America, but I think he was. So I'm gonna put it on this list, like leave it in and say like, oh, contentious. But we were good friends. We played together. He was a funny guy, and I'm pretty sure he was born in El Salvador, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, that's why it's contentious. But I'm gonna have it on this list regardless. And then, as I mentioned before, Trinidad and Tobago, as well as Grenada, the two Caribbean islands. The Caribbean islands. Like I know people that are from there that have heritage there, but they were not born there, so I'm not counting them. But just thought it'd be cool that like I know people from those countries, which is like it's pretty interesting. And then as we kind of move down the list, like that's kind of it for Northern Central America. We're going to get to South America, where I have quite a few, starting with Brazil. Obviously, I lived in Portugal. There were a lot of Brazilians there. I met a bunch of people from Brazil. So many people from players I played with, coaches, like friends and family friends, even like lots of connections to Brazil. Like I'll be here all day if I talked to you about every single Brazilian person I met, because it's a lot of them. For Colombia, I actually recently met this guy, also recent in my recent time in Spain. He was also doing a trial. He was doing it with a different team. We were both picked up from the airport at the same time. I didn't talk to him that much, but we had a couple of moments. Like we said hi to each other, a couple of small conversations because he didn't speak a lot of English and I don't speak a lot of Spanish, so it was kind of hard. But we kind of exchanged that much for me to know he's from Colombia and him to know that I'm from Canada. So that was that's pretty funny. But yeah, I met him. And then Argentina, like again, if I were to tell you about all the people I met from Argentina, it's the same type of things because part of my family is Argentinian. So that's again, like they're all from Argentina, right? And I also met a couple of Argentinian players when I was in Spain, both times in Spain, actually. I met Argentinian people. So Argentina is a huge one. Peru, I have a couple of people from Peru. I have a coach when I was in Spain. He was Peruvian, and another guy that I recently met in Spain who was born in Peru, but he lived in America and also like learned how to speak Portuguese as well, which was like again funny little interaction. But we met, we had some good conversations, good talks together, and that was he's also a very nice guy as well. He was also on trial over there. And then for Venezuela, I also have a few from Venezuela. I have a few from Venezuela. I met a guy back in the summer on my trial, a couple other people I know from Venezuela, and I have a couple of family members that were born in Venezuela. So that is, it is actually like a decently significant because there is a lot of people that migrated from Venezuela to Portugal and Spain. So that's why there are a lot of people, and obviously I was there in those countries. So of course I met quite a few people from Venezuela. And then Ecuador, I have my dad's friend who I met quite a few times, and I actually spent quite a bit of time with him. He is from Ecuador. I believe he's from Ecuador. I don't think he's. I'm fairly certain he is. And if not, there were a couple of people in Spain as well that I didn't know that much, but I definitely would have shaken their hands at times. And I didn't talk to them that much at all, but I played against them in friendly games. So there's small, much smaller than like Argentina and Portugal, but still a little bit of Ecuadorian connections that I've made as well. And that's actually it for South America. So now we're going to actually go across the ocean and we're going to go to Europe, where, there's going to be a lot. So strap in. Obviously, Portugal, because I lived there. I met so many different Portuguese people. Not even, not going to spend too much time on it because obviously, because I live there, I speak the language. I myself, like, if I were to, like, I would consider myself Portuguese because I speak the language, I have a passport, and I lived there for 2 years. So I think I'm like, if someone else were to kind of think, like, what people from different countries did I meet? Like, you could put me down for both Canada and Portugal. Like, if I was going to be that. So because I feel like that is the case, Portugal, I don't have to spend that much more time on because it's kind of obvious. And then in Spain, of course, I spent time in Spain a lot, met a lot of different Spanish people. I actually, like, probably my best friend from Spain was actually in my team in Portugal in the second season. Like, we had many great conversations, and he was just a super good guy, super nice, fun, chill guy. That he was probably my best Spanish friend. But yes, of course, I was in Spain as well, so I would have obviously met a lot of just genuinely traditionally Spanish people as well, of course, right? And then from France, I actually I actually was in France, like barely in France, but I spent a few hours in officially in the country of France. So I met some people there, and also on my trial back in the summer, there were a couple of people there that were French that I met. That it was a funny thing because he spoke like no English and I speak like zero French, which is like, it's kind of surprising to say because I'm from Canada, and everyone's always like, "Oh, do you speak French?" I'm like, "No, I don't," because I'm not from the part that really speaks French. So, it's a funny little thing, but yeah, I met him. Like, we were actually decent friends despite like us really not understanding each other. It's like one of those where it's like you kind of are like, "Oh, how did they even get along?" But you figure it out, right? It's not like, and there's a couple more guys on this list that's exactly like that, where it's like we do not understand each other at all, but somehow we just get along. And being on the football field, there was a good connection there. And then Belgium, I actually have Belgium. One of the coaches at the club I was just at, the most recent time I was in Spain, is from Belgium. So it was like, pretty cool. Like, I met the guy, and he ran a couple of training sessions, and he's a cool, chill guy. So that was interesting as well. I actually, like, I would have thought that I would know more people from Belgium, but I really haven't met that many people from Belgium. I haven't met anyone from Belgium, despite, like, except that guy, that the coach of the team that I was just recently at. And then the Netherlands, one of the guys that I was on that was with me on trial in August. He was from the Netherlands. He's actually born in Morocco, but he lived, like, he knows Dutch and he speaks Dutch, and he's lived his whole life pretty much in the Netherlands, so he definitely counts as being Dutch. And I'm pretty obviously he would have his passport, his citizenship, and all that stuff. So of course I'm counting that for sure as being Dutch. And then I also have Italy. I met a guy from Italy also on that same trial, and yeah, like, he was a nice guy. Like, he was chill. Like, he was actually a great player, very smooth on the ball. And I also met a guy from North Macedonia on that trial as well. Like, the Italian guy and the North Macedonian guy, they shared a room together, so, like, they were really close. But, like, I met them both. I had some great conversations with both of them, and there were some, a lot of funny moments. Like, the North Macedonian guy was a really funny dude, and it was good to spend time with both of them on that trial in that experience. But yeah, that's where I met them. And then the UK, I'm going to just put the UK in one because I don't think I've met anyone specifically from Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland. I've met a bunch of different people from England, like a few people on that same trial in Spain back in the summer of last year. A couple people I actually played with on my team in Portugal were from England. and I'm sure there are a couple of people here and there that are also from England as well that I met. And Ireland, I met a guy from Ireland on my recent trial where yeah, you can tell he's from Ireland. He's got that proper Irish accent, and like, yeah, I don't have that many from Ireland, but I did meet this guy. Then also on there is Denmark, and I'm just going to kind of put them all together: Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. I have all three of those because same thing. Like, I met them on the trial back in August. Really, the vast majority of these were on that trial because it was really like an international thing. Again, like, imagine like 30 guys, right? All trying to, all kind of being put into like a team, trying to, all trying to make it as professional football players. There were people from many different countries, and the guy from Denmark, Norway, a couple guys from Norway, and a guy from Sweden. There was also a guy from Sweden on my recent trial, two different guy. But yeah, like, again, many great memories, great conversations, great moments shared with all of them, and I cherished the time with them, and it was very fun to spend the time with them. Then also from that trial, inevitably a guy from Greece. The guy from Greece was also there. We actually didn't talk that anywhere near as much as the other guys because he didn't understand English anywhere near as much, but as always, like, we shared a great experience together, and we spent good time together, and it was of course just a good time, and he was a good player too. Like, he was a winger, but he was very good. He dribbled through players, and he was a baller, really. So now we're gonna get to some weird ones. So I have Moldova on this list. I met a guy who was born in Moldova, and this was in my door to door time. It was similarly to the guy from Jamaica. We kind of started at the same time, and I actually think he lasted longer than me, which is funny because I was doing way better, but he kept on going despite despite it being, like, he wasn't having as much success as I was, but he kept on going. I decided to quit because I wanted to go pursue my other things, right? Of course. But he was born in Moldova, and he has Ukrainian and Russian heritage. So, like, it's definitely like that. Like, that's probably one of the most interesting ones out here. Is this, like, Moldova? Like, wow, like, who would have thought? But I mean, yeah, it's true. Like, he's from Moldova, and then of course I have Ukraine. I'm not counting that other guy from Moldova for Ukraine and Russia. I have different people. I actually played with a guy here in Canada who was from Ukraine. So now we're going back to like a different part of my life. Like, so you're kind of connecting it all together, right? But yeah, like, I played with a guy. He was a striker. Like, he came in, and he was like, he didn't speak any English, but our team was kind of bad, and we needed a striker who could score goals. And he came in, and he was able to do exactly that. And he was very good, strong, like, strong physical, like, target man type of a player, and it was very good to play with him. And similarly, like, there were also guys that came from Turkey that I met that were also on that team as well back when I was playing in Canada before I moved to Portugal type of time. Two guys, one was a goalkeeper, and one was also was a very good winger that we played with, and we played like more so like we played a lot more together because they were here for longer than the Ukrainian guy. So of course we played a lot of games together. We had a lot of fun conversations, funny moments together, and of course we won a couple of trophies together. So that's even it's even more special and even more kind of good about like what our relationships were like with those guys from Turkey. And then I met a guy from Malta. I actually one of my best friends is from Malta, but like, he wasn't born there, and he doesn't really have a lot of like connection to the country. He was there for 2 months, but that's about it. But I met his dad as well, but his dad is definitely born there, and his dad is from there. So I actually like meeting his dad actually is what checks off Malta being on this list of countries that of countries of people from different countries. I don't even know how you would describe this whole thing. People from different countries. How many different countries? Dude, I don't know. Like, you get the idea by now. I would hope, if you're still here watching this, I would really hope you get the idea by now. The fact that yeah, like, yeah, you do have all of these different countries here. and like, like Mr. Worldwide type of thing, like truly like expanding the knowledge of many different cultures and many different lifestyles and many different things. Like it was very good. And we're I don't even think we're halfway done. No, we're about halfway done, but there's still a lot more to go. So yeah, like that's the concept. And I think, so far as we kind of hit the halfway stage, it was a good, like a lot of these people, as well as the people that I'm going to be mentioning as well, like, man, like I made so many great friends, man. I made so many great memories with these people, and being exposed to many different cultures, many different types of lifestyles, many different types of people. Like, it's a super good thing. It only expands your horizon. It's only a good thing. But it's like, yeah, I've met people from all of these different countries, and it kind of like it sits with me, and it's like, yeah, man, wow. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that I met like a guy from Moldova. I met a guy from, I'm going to hold off because there's a couple other interesting countries that are coming up. But like, yeah. So yeah, like even if I don't know why I can't really come up with the actual name for what this concept would be. You get the idea. And I kind of look back on these things with the fondness. It's like, yeah, wow. I mean, it's like, it's pretty damn cool that, like, it's like weird flex, but okay. Like, it's pretty damn cool that I've met all these people from all of these different countries. So it's like, why not kind of share it to the public? And that's exactly what I've been doing. But that's exactly what I am going to be doing today. And what I've been doing and what I'm going to keep doing. So as we reach that halfway point, call that like a little halftime, little reflection and reminiscing of all of the great memories I've made with all these people. Let's keep going. Let's keep going in terms of like all these countries I have on this list of people that I've met. So we get to Russia. Russia, I've met a guy from Russia. He was actually like, he is born in Russia, but he like doesn't identify with being from Russia, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, like that part of the world, Russia, Ukrainian type of things, like the whole like land debate and disputes and whatever. And it's like it gets a little bit complicated, but I am counting him on this list because, like, just by definition, he was geographically born in what we consider to be Russia today in modern day. So because of that, I am counting that there. And if all else fails, I also, again, I also have that guy from Moldova who has Russian and Ukrainian and connections as well, and he speaks both languages. So like regardless of what you want to count, I definitely like Russia is definitely on this list somehow. And I also have Romania. Romania being the last country in Europe. Uh, well, is it? No, it's not. It's actually not. Hold on. Yeah, because I added a couple here actually extra because I remembered a few other people I met. Romania, also like, a super fun guy that I met on the trial back in the summer of last year in Spain. Many great memories, many good moments together as well. So I met a girl from Germany, and she's Egyptian, but she was like, she had been living in Germany for a long enough time that I would consider her to be, yes, she is Germany. And this was actually in Portugal where we met. So I mean, like, it's crazy, right? Egyptian, German, Canadian, like, and then you come together in Portugal. Like, I mean, it's beautiful the way the world works sometimes. But yeah, like I met her from like in the residency the residency, is it really called, like in my apartment building that I was living in at the time. We were doing like they run like events every now and again. I met her at one of those events. And then now the final last country from Europe is Albania. And Albania is also very contentious in a similar way to El Salvador and a couple other countries. Like, there is one person that I have from door to door, and I believe she was born in Albania. So I'm gonna count that as being Albania. But I also know, like, I've also known a couple of other people that have Albanian heritage, but like, again, are not from there. They like to identify themselves with being a part of it, but they're not from there. They don't have a passport. They don't speak the language. So I'm not really going to count that. But I put Albania here because I believe that one person from my door to door sales job was from there. So I am going to put that down there. So let's move on to Africa now. And Africa is also like very, very interesting. So Morocco, like maybe one of like my best friends and my best teammates was from Morocco. in Portugal. So he moved to Portugal, and somehow we both managed to end up on the same team, and we ended up becoming good friends, and we had like so many inside jokes and memes and fun times had in those locker room talk and conversation in Portugal. And I also met another couple of guys from Morocco, in Spain, of course, back in that August, summer of last year trial, where a lot of these guys are actually from. Like, I've met a lot of these guys there. Algeria, I met a guy Algerian from door to door, similar type of thing. He's actually like he was actually like a lot older than me, but like, again, we had great conversations, we had good moments together, good moments, good memories shared. And yeah, like a lot of it was really like we just shared, like, really a lot of it is like the fondness I have with all of these people is we shared this, like, difficult, I don't know, unique type of experience together, and we were a part of it together, and like, we kind of had a bond of friendship as a result of it. And the Algerian guy I met, we also had that. And pretty much all the guys in that trial back in summer of last year, and even a little bit in the most recent one, we all had that kind of deep connection as well. So then I move on to Egypt. Egypt, I actually have met quite a few people from Egypt. Like, first of all, I actually went to Egypt once for vacation. So again, a bit of a cheat code similar to the Cuba thing, but I've actually like met people and like had very good friends from Egypt. Like, I met a guy in Portugal who was from Egypt. Obviously, that German girl who's also Egyptian, and there was another couple of players on my most recent trial that were on the team that were Egyptian, and my roommate was actually Egyptian as well on the most recent trial. So plenty of Egyptian in plenty of Egyptian connections that I've made over my life, which is really interesting. And then we move on to Nigeria. Nigeria, also another person from the trial last year. This guy, we actually, like, he's a great guy, dude. And I actually have a story about this guy that's like a little bit more funny. He, like, we basically we finished the trial, and like me, the Macedonian guy that I mentioned earlier, another guy from Mexico, and this guy who's from Nigeria, we all like had flights, but we had them late. So like the bus was taking us back to Madrid, to the main city, to just drop us off at the airport. But we had flights late. Like, we didn't have our flights that day. We had our flights like 2 or 3 days later. So we had all agreed that we were going to get an Airbnb together. And we did. We shared the Airbnb. And basically, this Nigerian guy, one of the nights, he went out partying. Like, we all went out. I think we all went out, and then we came back. Like, me and the Mexican guy, we came back, and he stayed out there with a couple of girls he met. And then, like, he literally came back at like 7 in the morning. Like, I literally woke up, and I woke up and he was just getting home and getting to bed. So then, like, obviously he got up at 2 p.m. or something like that later. And then he was like showing us videos and telling us stories of like he had this like crazy clubbing night where he went and they got like a VIP section or whatever. And like, yeah. And he was literally like, yeah, man, like Madrid's just destroyed him. So it's like, that was a fun moment, and that kind of, it educated me a little bit on like how crazy the party culture can really get in those parts of Europe. Like, Portugal's like that for sure. Spain is absolutely like that. And I'm sure there are many other places in Europe that are like that as well. So, like, I'm not really a party guy, but it's a funny story that this guy who was from Nigeria, born in Nigeria, but he lived in America. It was definitely a funny little moment, and we shared so many great laughs and very great memories together as well. And so now we have Ethiopia. Ethiopia is actually a friend that I had from elementary school who is Ethiopian, and similarly to the Malta situation, like, I'm not sure if he was actually born in Ethiopia, but even if he wasn't, like, I met his parents who are definitely born there and from there. So that's of course how I would check off Ethiopia on the list. And then, well, of course, you get to the Portuguese colonies, right? Of course, because I lived in Portugal and I played in a football team in Portugal, like basically all of the teams that I was in had people and great friends from all the Portuguese colonies. So you have Angola in there. There's actually a pair of identical twins from Angola, which like no one could really differentiate, and it would make us seem like we were racist, but like really was just because they looked exactly the same. And of course, so many other great people I met from Angola. Mozambique, not as many from Mozambique, but one of the people I met, we were very close friends. We trained a lot together. He was from Mozambique. Guinea-Bissau, I met a guy from Guinea-Bissau near the end of my time in Portugal. He was playing in the higher team, and I met him. I didn't actually talk to him that much, but we, like, we met. I definitely would have shaken his hand in the locker room when I was kind of like training with the higher team. And I also met another guy from Guinea-Bissau back in 2024 when I was training with another professional team in Portugal. He was from Guinea-Bissau, and it was like, it was like we were definitely a lot closer, and we definitely like had a, like, mostly because he spoke English, and I think he was also like he had spent some time in the UK. So like we also like, made a great connection there as well. Like not many people from that other trial, you wouldn't even realize that I had one in 2024. Like I did another trial in Portugal in 2024 that like you wouldn't even have realized that I had mentioned. But like the reason is because like everyone there was just like Portuguese or Brazilian or Angolan. So it's like they're kind of all there. Like no one really unique. The international type of trials were what were happening in Spain type of thing. So that's why I've met many people from these countries. And then a guy from Cape Verde who was also like who also, he spoke English. He taught me some swear words in their dialect, which was a funny little moment. And again, like, great memories, great conversations, great time spent together. And then I met a guy from Sierra Leone in that trial last summer. One of the guys, he was from Sierra Leone, like he was living in America, but he was born in Sierra Leone. And like, I mean, like he was like I don't know, like a kind of like shy, timid type of guy, but he would kind of, he would do what he needed to do on the field, and he kind of like, he was kind of like willing to do whatever job was necessary for the team, and he was a good guy and a nice dude, and again, we shared a great experience together and had a good time together. And then you have Eritrea, which for my time, living in Toronto, there's a pretty big Eritrean community here. And when I went to school, I met a bunch of people from Eritrea. Again, not sure if they were born there, but I really have no way to confirm whether or not they were born there. So because they are like, they very much like rep their flag, rep their colors and all that stuff, I'm gonna be like, sitting here and just assuming that they were born there. Then I met a guy from Ghana. This was door to door in my door to door sales. He like I only met him briefly because I don't think he got selected, or if he did get selected, he quit after the first couple of days. But like again, he was a nice guy. He was a classy guy, and he like he was also like a little bit like on the shyer type of side. But like we had a couple of good conversations, and it's sad. It sucks that he didn't make it, but of course I met this guy, and it was we also shared some good moments as well. And then the last one from Africa is South Africa. Of course, I met a lot of people from South Africa on both trials. The one back in the summer of last year, and the most recent one. The most recent guys were like, very good guys. Like a couple of guys were already on the team. A couple of guys were doing trials like me, and we had like some rides together, and good conversations. We worked out together, and the guys back when I met them last summer, those guys, we like there was one guy who like he was a big rage baiter, trash talker, and we would play FIFA, and he would always be like talking trash about how bad I was at FIFA. And then like the funniest thing is there'd be one game where I just chose not to say a word the whole game, and when I played against him, and I beat him 5-3. So like he was over here just like getting angry and getting mad, and then like, oh, I found the antidote. Just like don't respond. Like there's like a life lesson in there, really, like to ignore it and don't respond, and he won't like continue, right? So then I was able to win, and then I had the last laugh in the end. So those were also fun moments, and with all these guys from South Africa, like again, like seeing videos of their culture and all of these things, it's like it was good. You know, it was good to experience, and they were great guys and very good people to spend time with. So as we move into Asia, we're going to start with the Middle East and then maybe make our way more eastward into Asia. I met a guy from Israel. There's a guy from Israel or Palestine or whatever, like whatever. I don't know. I don't want to get into the details of that, but he was like, but I didn't really know him that much. But I shook his hand, talked to him a little bit, and it was on the most recent trial I was on. And then the guy from Lebanon. I met a guy from Lebanon on the trial in the summer of last year. And man, did we have some great times, man. Him and a couple other guys from the US, we were probably like the closest group of people on the trial. And man, like this guy was amazing, man. And he was an absolute stud. And we had just some really great conversations, really great memories together. I really hope to see him one day. Like perhaps I'm going to be doing a trip to Lebanon in the future just so I can see him and experience his culture a little bit better. Obviously, you know, with all the problems going on in the country, it's a little bit like, okay, do I really want to do it? But like this guy was, you know, he was a really amazing dude, and it was and him as well as the other people on that trial. It was a really fun experience, and we had like a, you know, we all had like kind of a deeper connection more than anyone else, really. So then we also have Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is on the most recent trial. This is the guy where it's like he didn't understand any English. I obviously don't speak any Arabic. We don't understand each other, but he's just a nice guy, and we were somehow good friends despite us not really understanding each other. We would use other people to like translate so we could communicate with each other. So it was super funny, but he was a great guy, amazing guy, and I met him on the most recent trial as well. And I met a guy from Jordan, guy born in Jordan, also on the most recent trial. He lives in the USA, but he was born in Jordan. So of course I'll count that as being on this list. He was a bit younger, but he was also super nice, super chill dude, and you know, many good laughs and conversations had with him as well. Met a guy from Syria, actually a couple of guys from Syria, like the people that were like Jordan and Syria, they were kind of like, I think every single person that was from Syria was also from Jordan in some way. Some of them were born in Syria, lived in Jordan for a bit. Some were born in Jordan, lived in Syria. I don't know like the full politics of it all. Obviously, the Middle East, there's a lot of problems in there that those countries have. And so then, you know, obviously the guy, he lived in the UK for a bit, but he's from Syria. So of course, like the main guy I'm talking about here, he's from Syria, also on the most recent trial. Again, we went to Madrid together. We had good laughs, good talks, good conversations together, and it was it was again good memories, good friend, and good times, right? So I met a guy from Iran. Iran is on this list too. Both Iran and Iraq are on this list. The guy I met from Iran is doing door to door. He's lived in Canada for a few years, but he's lived most of his life in Iran, and we went out together. He actually trained me for a little bit, and like again, we it was just, you know, fun times, good moments, and good laughs, good time spent together. And the guys from Iraq, there were a lot of guys from Iraq on the most recent trial. Like the first people I met when I went on my trial the most recently, like a couple weeks ago when I first left, the first guys I met were from Iraq. And similar to the guy from Saudi Arabia, like there were a few guys that literally didn't speak any English. A couple of guys spoke English so we could communicate, but a few guys didn't speak English, but somehow we like, you know, we were still good friends and we still hit it off quite well and still managed to like have some good conversations, good laughs, good time spent together. And I met some people from Afghanistan. This is a more unique one. I was doing some pickup games, and we played against literally like there's this like group of people who are literally like the whole team are people from Afghanistan. So we got like a little bit smoked by them because like they had this group of people together and we were just kind of there with random other people. And like it was a feisty, contentious little game that we had there, but it was again, it was like, you know, like we shook their hands. Obviously, it was good sportsmanship, but like I met these people, and it was, you know, there was good. I don't know how to describe it. Like it was, I was mad at the end of that pickup session because I had I'm not gonna brag here, but I had scored 5 goals and got an assist. I literally contributed to every single one of our team's goals. but then we lost like 9-6 or something like that to the team of Afghanis. So it's like, yeah, you know, I look back on it, it's super funny, but I mean, what are you gonna do, right? And one of my best friends that I've known for probably the longest time, he was born in Pakistan, which is I don't know, kind of ironic, but he's lived in Canada for most of his life, and we have great time spent with each other, great memories together, and he really is a formidable guy. Like, as if I were to say like anything, like he would become super successful, like, and hopefully in the future, if we do like if I reach good success, you start to see, maybe I'll have him on the show at some point, similar to the guy who has Malton heritage. I might have both of these guys on the show at some point. So you'll get to see, just how like interesting and good these people are in real time, perhaps. But we'll see what happens. And India, obviously, like, I live in Toronto. If you don't know about living in Toronto, there are a lot of Indians in these parts. But I met some very, very good people, mainly in door to door. There was an Indian guy I met that was actually on the team in the most recent trial I was at, and one of the coaches was from India. And that's actually an interesting story, because that coach, he actually told me that he, like, when I told him that I was from Portugal and I speak Portuguese, like, he told me that actually he has a lot of friends that are Portuguese, because he's either from there or lived there in some point. The colony, I don't remember the name of it, but there's a colony in India that is Portuguese, because Portugal colonized it, similar to how there's Macau in China, which is also a Portuguese colony, but not like an official country. So he actually knew a lot of people that spoke Portuguese that went to different clubs in Portugal and across Europe, and then he was here in this club in Spain. So like he told me, "Oh yeah, like I have actually a lot of Portuguese Indian friends, and they and I could understand Portuguese." So that was like that was like a, I don't know, like unbelievable, like interesting little moment that recently happened. But also I met some amazing Indian people from my door-to-door job, some really good people. Like the guy that trained me, the guy that helped me be good in door to door was Indian, and he's also super formidable. Like, if you might see his name in the future. I really do believe that. Like, you might see his name out there in the future as a guy that's like super successful, because he is on the path, and I actually helped him a little bit on that path to kind of climbing the ladder in the door to door world. Like, the guy that trained me and helped me be good at door to door sales is really formidable, and we had some very, very great moments together as well. And similarly, also door to door sales, I met someone from Sri Lanka, which is very interesting. She also drove me places and taught me a few things. We had some good conversations together, and some very good moments shared with each other. Those car rides, like, when you would go and do sales in the middle of nowhere, and there's like an hour plus long car ride to get back home, there'd be great conversations there. And of course, I cherish all those memories all the same, just like everything else. And again, being in Toronto, there's a huge Filipino community, huge Vietnamese community. I met a bunch of different people. Some I don't really know if they were born in the Philippines or Vietnam, or if they just have the heritage. But there are a few that I definitely know. There's actually someone I know who's living in the Philippines right now. So Philippines and Vietnam are on there because of a bunch of people that I went to school with, a bunch of people that I met, and we had great conversations, great laughs, great fun together, being in a city where there is a huge community of those people. And similarly, in high school, I met a guy from South Korea, a couple of guys from South Korea, actually, that were like actually from South Korea, were just starting to learn English, didn't really actually know it that well. And like, I was actually like helping him a little bit with like his English and practicing his English, and teaching him different words. And we were in a few classes together. We would goof around in class a little bit together. And it was, it was super fun. And it was, again, just great memories, great moments. And China, I actually don't have that much from China. You would think I probably have more, but the only person I met from China, I met someone, it was a girl in my Portuguese apartment that I lived in. Like it's I don't know, again, it's just crazy. Again, you have like the Egyptian, the German, the Canadian, and then you also add the Chinese girl who is there as well. And funny story about that, she gave me to eat what did I what it was like a was it like a chicken's foot or something like that? Like, dude, it was so bad. Oh my god. Like, I'm sorry, but like I had to literally like just fight it, like fight it, fight the urge, and just yep, yeah, that's pretty, mm, yeah, that's good, man. Like literally fight the urge to like just spit it out completely, just so that I ate it, just so I could be respectful to her and her culture. But like, yeah, it was not for me, dude. It was not very good. But again, we also had good memories, good moments shared together. Like all of us in that little group of people in the Portuguese residency. It's interesting. Like it's an interesting fact that like there is this like huge group of people. But yeah, like I met her and it was very cool. And from Japan, one of the goalkeepers I had, again, similar that I actually don't have that many Japanese connections. I would have thought that I'd have more, but of course I do know someone. Like who he was one of my goalkeepers for my team when I was playing in Canada. And like he was a bit of a goofy guy. Like he was a little bit of like a funny like little bit like I don't know how to describe it, like little bit out there type of guy. And again, like many great laughs, many great moments. Like he was basically the type of guy that like he would pull off these like world class saves, but like give him the ball at his feet and he will do something absolutely stupid. So he was one of those guys, but he was Japanese. And again, like he actually helped the team a lot. Like when it was necessary for him to clutch up, he really did clutch up. So fair play to the guy, right? And then the final country in which I have a connection that I've met someone from, the final country that I've met someone from is Australia. I actually like I when making this list, I was going to say that I have not met anyone from Oceania at all, but obviously no one from any of the side islands. But from Australia, there was one guy I didn't really know that much, but I definitely shook his hand. He was in the team on the trial that I was recently on. He was in that team already, so I shook his hand, talked to him, like maybe said a couple of words to him. And then I found out later that he was actually Australian. Like I didn't even realize. I thought the guy was Spanish. Like he really genuinely just looked like some Spanish guy. And I think he spoke Spanish to me because also like you look at me and you kind of try and assume, but he's actually Australian. Didn't actually meet him that much, so it does it really count? But if we're going off of the thing, like yeah, I definitely shook his hand, so I think it counts. And for what it's worth, I did actually like talk to another Australian guy online because he's actually a pretty significant Australian guy. He is the owner of Train Effective. I don't know if you know what that is, but it is a football training app. Basically, long story short, in my affiliate marketing days, because I spent some time affiliate marketing, this account for the podcast is just basically like the same account I was using back then, but revamped. I actually was able to interview the guy, and he's the owner of Train Effective. Train Effective is the app I was promoting as a part of my affiliate marketing. I actually interviewed the guy, and he is from Australia, and he also has Japanese heritage as well. So for what it's worth, I definitely have known a guy from Australia and spoken more kind of directly to a guy from Australia. I don't think I'm going to release the interview because first of all, there's probably not that many people watching up until this point to even like get to this like little fun interesting fact. But yeah, the interview actually, like when I look back on it, like it was a little bit kind of crappy quality, but like the guy, like he's a great guy, like really amazing guy, and he's having a lot of success with his project at Train Effective, and he's doing some really good things for footballers out there. And he's Australian, so I met him as well. So for what it's worth, I'm going to say that I also have Australia on this list. So people that I have met from different countries. different countries in which I have met people from them. Whatever you want to call this list. That is my list of people. It is a huge list. The actual final number is actually, if you count every single country I have written down here, the number is, funnily enough, 67 is the number of of countries that I have a connection to, let's say, that I've shaken hands with. But obviously, like, you take out the countries where it's like, oh, they have heritage there but they're not actually from there, type of thing, and the ones that you're contentious that I'm not really sure. The number is in between 60 and 63, let's say. Like, let's just to kind of bring it down, it's in between. It's definitely more than 60, but in between 60 and 63. So, I don't know, do you want to call me Mr. Worldwide? Like, that's a lot of different countries that I've met many people from. And, like, yeah, that number is only going to go up because, in my life, like, for example, like, I've never met anyone from Switzerland, which is like crazy because I want to live in Switzerland one day because I've seen many pictures about it, and it's like I really want to go there someday. Some other countries that I'd really like to go to someday in Europe, like Central Europe, Eastern Europe, haven't met anyone from there, like, at all. So, you know, that number's only going to go up, of course, inevitably throughout my life. But as of now, as I'm recording this episode, the number's in between 60 and 63. And if you want to be generous and count every single one, it's 6-7, which is just like a little bit ironic, weird, funny, whatever you want to call it. I personally do not like the 6-7 meme. I'll just put it out there. Personally don't like it, but people still like to perpetuate it. So I guess I'm just going to have to suffer. But yeah, those were people I met from countries all around the world. Those are the countries that I have shaken hands with personally. And it was a fun little episode. It was a fun time. And I really hope you enjoyed it. If you're still here, I hope you had a laugh or two. You had a good, like, aha moment, interesting moment. Oh wow, he met a guy from that country. That's cool. Right? The being interested in and slightly entertained by it. I really hope you were. I hope this was fun. Even if not a lot of people watch it, it's a daily podcast show. I'm gonna come back tomorrow with something different, something better. That's what we're gonna do each and every day. But I came up with this idea, and it was pretty fun, and it also gives me a chance to sit here and reflect about just how many people I've met, like just how big the variety of people that I've met is. So that's it. That is it from me. 67 countries. Again, if you want to be really technical, let's say 63 countries around the world that I've met. There are 195, 195 UN registered countries. So 63 is not even a third of that. But I mean, like, there are people that I know that haven't even left the province. They hardly even leave the city. So the fact that I've been able to kind of expand my knowledge, expand, like, the exposure to different cultures this much already so far in my life, and really just based on like three different things, like my time in Portugal, my time in Spain, and my time in door to door, really, like, obviously with a few other things like here and there, it's not like perfectly put into those categories. The people I'm going to meet in the future, those numbers will only go up, basically. So yeah, all I say, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were interested and intrigued by this concept. It was something that I just kind of came up with and I really wanted to talk about because I kind of also wanted to personally reflect, but at the same time, I wanted to I don't know, again, like the weird flex but okay type of thing where it's like, yeah, man, you met people from these countries. So really the biggest thing here is like, yeah, man, expand your horizons, expand like where you go, what you see, what you do. And you're going to meet so many amazing people, and you're going to meet people that you don't even like realize that, like, just how unique of a person you've met. And that's and I'm lucky enough, I'm fortunate enough, like, praise God for that I have been able to meet so many like diverse and amazing people where we made so many great, amazing memories. And, all I do is I encourage you to do the same, man. Like, being stuck in your bubble, in your city, in your province, in your state, versus kind of exploring more things around the world, it's a big difference, man. It's a big difference, and it really opens your eyes to many different things, many different perspectives, and it helps you just grow every day. It helps you, you can look back on it with a fondness and say, I've really met all these people from all these countries. Wow, like that's cool, right? And that's what I'm really doing today. That's a big, this episode is really just a one big, oh, wow, that's very cool type of thing. So that's it for me. I think I'm going to stop rambling on. I've already gone way too long. You're bored. You don't want to be here anymore. That's absolutely fair. Many people have already clicked off, I'm sure. But if you are still here, I'm trying to let you know that you are appreciated. I appreciate your support. Like the video and comment what you thought. What is the most unique country what is the most unique country that you've shaken hands with? What is the person, who is the person from a country that you would have even, you maybe didn't even know on the map, that you've shaken hands with, that you've met, and that you've communicated with and convened with? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe on YouTube if you haven't yet. Follow on Spotify. I would really appreciate if you help me out there as well. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here each and every day. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the 365 podcast.